This is my works from home space. So thank you, Jim, for being on today.
No worries.
We're gonna get to know a little bit about you, but we're gonna let some people come back in real quick. So you got 30 minutes to give us your whole life story.
I can do it in 5.
I don't doubt you, but according to Frank, he's got, how many questions you got, Frank?
25.
Frank hadn't known me long enough to have 25 questions.
Believe me, I'll make them up.
Exactly.
All right, well, we got Hank on, we got Greg. I'm just saying hey to everybody as I look through. Ken, Chris. I was like, I thought Chris wasn't in today.
That's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, Jeb, do you want to get started going?
Roll. Let's roll.
All right. Who are you? What do you do? So I'm just kidding. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining Mission Mentor today. We've got our Chief Compliance Officer, Jim Minghini here. He's going to tell us a little bit about himself. So thank y'all all for joining. We need to make sure that Jim tells his life story in more than 5 minutes. So first, I'm going to start with the first question.
Sure.
And this is just probably my ignorance, but what is compliance?
Compliance. I mean, do you really want to go deep? Do you want to keep it? So, I mean, I can, all right, so let's just look at it this way. Compliance is obviously, we've got state and federal laws that we have to comply with. We have got, we have to follow the guidelines, so I can really go deep and get the, subsection of different laws and things of that nature. But to keep it simple, paint a picture for you. You're driving down the road. You've got those metal guardrails on each side. Key thing for the guardrails is compliance. Keeps you from going over the cliff into the abyss to where we get hit hard with compliance problems. That's compliance in a nutshell.
Well, what is a compliance problem?
Could be, basically overcharging the customer, not following TRID, not following RESPA, not following your state compliance regulations. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, you could not be following Fannie guidelines, Freddie guidelines. It's probably a million things that has to do with compliance.
Yeah, so you're like busy all the time.
It can be, yes.
You have to get like deep into it. You have to like get into like the nitty gritty of things to like figure out where the problem is.
Yeah, you have to get in the weeds. So, and basically to where you just said, figure out what the problem is. You want to determine what the root cause is.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you've got to get to be able to correct things.
So you have to be good at it. Your attention to detail must be very high, right? You must be.
Yeah, I'm very purple.
Okay, there you go, purple. That's for the Clifton strengths. Have y'all taken, everybody, if you've taken that, I'm very relationship driven. I think that's blue.
Yes.
But Mike says, do we have any special licensing requirements that your group handles?
Special licensing. We handle all the state licensing requirements. And then as far as Fannie, Freddie, and all that. So yes, my group handles everything, all 50 states now and Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow. Frank, what's your first question?
Jim, where do you see EPM in the future with compliance? Where do you see compliance going? Is it going to get easier? Is it going to get harder? What?
That's a question that's hard to answer. I mean, it varies based on the administration. Okay, first, the president and things of that nature, and what goes on in Washington. It also varies based on who's running each state, as far as the Department of Banking and Finance. Right now it's pretty even, quiet. There's been some stuff that's been changed that made it a little easier as far as the federal level goes. But it's something that I have to monitor constantly on a daily, weekly basis, to make sure, because they do enact things really quickly sometimes. So if we're not ahead of the curve on that, then we're behind the curve and could be fined and or, subject to penalties if we're not staying on top of that. So it just depends on where we're at with the industry and the administration.
Hey, a follow-up to that is EPM, are you protecting us really well? Are we getting fines, and how big are those fines if we are to get fined?
To be honest, and knock on wood, I wish you hadn't answered that. We've had 0 fines since I've been here in the last 6+ years.
Wow, awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's so many questions. Hold on. What is the most common compliant issue that you deal with? That's from Greg. I think that's a good one.
The most common would be, your time requirements with TRID. Did we get the LE out in time? Did we get the COC out in time? Did we get the revised CD out in time? When can we close? Those are your basic common questions, and normally Encompass will drive that, enforce that for us. But you could have some people that are new to the industry or new to the company that's not aware of that. It just really scatters. And then we get a lot of questions about state specific stuff.
Yeah. We're going to move on to Logan's question because I think this is going to be a fun answer. Logan and Mike both asked, have you always been in mortgage, or where did you start and how'd you end up at EPM? I think this is a fun story. You're telling me a little bit about it yesterday.
Yeah. Yes, I've always been in mortgage. I'm 28 and a half years in the industry now. But that's not where I was going. What's that? All right, smart butt. No, I graduated UGA, University of Georgia in 92. I was accepted into UGA law as well, but I was going to take 6 months off before I started law school. And in that time, I decided, I really don't want to go to law school. So I kind of stepped out of, I majored in political science and minored in business. I applied with the Secret Service. Not the uniform division, but the actual division that would protect the president. I just finally got into law enforcement somehow. Went and took the lie detector test, which was scary as hell. They ask questions and you have to answer honestly. So there were some tough questions I had to answer. Passed their agility test, passed their speed test, passed their written test, and was on the verge of being hired. And at that time, they 92, I forget who the president was. They had a hiring freeze. So I was like, shit, I got to do something. So I joined Citigroup as a manager in a fast track management training program. And so that started the career in the industry, hoping one day Secret Service would reach out, hey, we're ready to hire you. But after 10 years, that was a dead deal. So wound up in the industry, moved all over the state, ran a branch, was a training manager, went into audit, traveled the US and Canada, doing audits all over the country. I'd fly in on Sunday or fly out on Sunday, fly back in on Friday, turn and do the same thing. And then, they had a little layoff back in 2012, wound up with another competitor here in Atlanta, and then wound up here at EPM about a little over 6 years ago.
Thanks. You've been at EPM for 6 years. After all that, now you've been at EPM. That's a lot. Hank wants to know to talk about your UGA days, and then there's some digs I'm going to read to you. So it says, does UGA still have a football team? Oh, you mean UGA when they won football games? What's your favorite UGA
who said that? Who said that?
Nick Tantanella said UGA back when they won football games.
Yeah. All right, Nick, I'll talk to you later, buddy. UGA days. No, it was great. Different, partied, yes. But definitely had to, study to make sure that mom and dad didn't get on me for not having the good grades. Enjoyed it. 4 years was great. Can't complain. Wish I was back there doing it again.
I bet you do.
Were you on the rifle teams? Hank says he thought you were on the rifle team.
The what team?
Rifle?
No. I was on the beer drinking team.
There you go, Hank. There's your answer.
You are not in compliance.
Yes, Hank said shotgun and beers.
That works. Yep, that was the team.
It was a joke. Sorry, Hank, I messed up your joke. Oh, Logan says, what was your best memory of the UGA nickel beer nights, if you can remember any?
Nickel night? Yeah, I mean, they had drinking on Lincoln. You got penny beer, nickel pitchers. It's just stuff they can't do nowadays.
It's true. I'm going to ask more. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Minghini, what's your favorite beer?
You know what it is.
Cold.
No, I want them to tell you. I don't want you.
Well, I mean,
want
the
them to
one I
know.
drink predominantly is Corona Light, but I do like IPAs as well.
Okay.
Corona Light. I didn't see that one coming.
Corona. Me either.
Right.
All right, so I want to ask a more serious question. This comes from Jamie. She has asked, who is your mentor or someone that you looked up to get where you were?
It's nobody that's with us here. I mean, it goes back to my city days, and it was the guy that actually hired me into the industry, as far as, taught me a lot of things, showed me the ropes. At the time, we did our own underwriting, we did all our processing, we did all the collections, we did everything. I mean, this was back before computers, guys. I mean, we took the application by hand. We scored everything DTI. So, I mean, just he taught me the ropes, taught me the right way to do it, and allowed me to grow, into the position that I was in.
Are you still in contact with him?
No.
I feel like I'm taking notes over here. I feel like I'm writing your biography.
Yeah, you got to remember, that was 28 plus years ago.
I know, yeah. I wasn't even born. I'm just kidding. Jamie also asked, what's your favorite part of your job? And she said, say her. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't say that.
Favorite part is, is, believe it or not, I like interacting with some folks, but I also like just, to see that, making sure that the company grows the right way. Making sure that we get to where, I know you guys have heard that we want to be a top 10 lender. That's my favorite part of job. Plus, also on my team, I like to, I've hired some folks recently that didn't have any industry. They've learned a lot. I allow them to learn, and I like mentoring people.
Mm-hmm.
So, those would be the key points.
Here's a fun question from Danae that I'm going to ask. It says, what is something you've heard about you in the office or around the office that just is not true?
That I'm scary.
Yeah, you're not scary.
It's not that. I mean, I'm a little bit of an introvert. There's some things that I've been working on it. But that'd be this, compliance officer. He's the police. He's whatever. That's not the case. I'm not scary. Some people have gotten to know me, so don't let me scare you.
I always say you're just a jokester. You're always joking. Actually, when you talk to you, it's really funny. Hold on, I'm reading some more. Okay, as I read some more, Mike asks, have we ever had a CFPB audit?
No, we have not. Actually, we are not regulated directly by the CFPB. We're regulated by each state. The reason that is we don't meet the minimum asset requirements for the CFPB, which is a good thing. But I have to deal with 50 different regulators with the state. So, I mean, you could have one or you could have 50. I'll take the 50.
What is CFPB for us?
Consumer Finance Protection Bureau.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna skip that. Did you ever consider going back to the Secret Service? Liz asked that of you.
A little too old now.
Does it? No. Okay. Who is your favorite person to go with? Who is your favorite person to go after with the bullhorn?
Shalonda.
I was about to say it's Shalonda.
And
Wait,
LA.
what?
And LA.
LA's going to because he gets scared. Let me see. Caitlin says that they love you. I'm just reading you the things. Oh, who's your favorite dog? What are their names and who's your favorite?
Are you talking about my two Dachshunds? I got too many Dachshunds. It's Ruby and Roxy. There is no favorite. They're spoiled rotten little brats. One's 7 and one's 8.
When I first started, I was trying to gather some information about everybody, so I'd be able to know how to talk to, have something to say to everybody. And that was the one thing that came up. Ask about his dogs. Ask him about his dogs.
Yep, those are my kids.
Roxy, how old are they?
7 and 8. Roxy's 8, Ruby's 7. One's brown, one's red, and one's black and tan.
Oh, I love Dachshunds. I grew up with a Dachshund named Daisy. She was always there. We called her a gorilla protector because she was always barking at nothing. And we lived out in the country, so it was like she was just barking at gorillas that lived in the tree.
Yep, no, they bark at anything and everything that drives down the road. So.
Oh, here's one from John Crane. He says, why do New Jersey loans have so many title fees that go against state rules? Do you know the answer?
That is established by the state of New Jersey. That's one of the tougher states that we're in. It's just they are there to make sure there's no junk fees. That's the easiest answer. They're trying to limit the junk fees, and a lot of times your title fees can be seen as junk fees. New York is the same way. Mass is the same way. It's just something that New Jersey is, has always been that way.
What did your dad do for a living? Greg asks. He's really getting.
He did. Let's see. One, he was a federal inspector for agriculture. He did that for a long time. Then he transitioned to being selling equipment that the DOTs used to spray the side of the road and stuff like that. So, I mean, he's done quite a bit. He was more the federal inspector for probably 40 years. He got into the sales just because he was ready to retire and needed something to do. So now he's fully retired.
I'm sorry. I just like this question from Caitlin. What are your tips to have great grass? Do you have great grass? Are you like
Yes, he does.
you're a lawn guy? Oh,
No CD about my yard. Yes.
tell us more. Tell us more. What are your
It gets cut. It gets cut once a week. I make sure it stays watered. I have a company that does all the fertilization.
He cuts it with scissors.
Not quite that. I will
It's
shoot
manicure.
somebody. No, I will shoot you if you walk on my.
See, serious.
Do you have signs that say "Stay off my lawn"?
Yeah, with a shotgun picture.
There you go. There's your shotgun team right there. Do you aerate your lawn?
Yes, I have a company that does it once a year.
All right, another serious question. What are some things you wish loan officers would do to assist for your compliance team?
The biggest piece that would help is ask before doing on things that you're not clear about. Because if you're doing things and you're not sure, or you're trying to push the envelope, which is fine, we can play in the gray area a little bit. But if you're not sure, reach out to us, because sometimes if you cross that path, there could be a restart, which is going to hurt the consumer. So always ask, reach out. We're available. I mean, a lot of people have my cell phone. I mean, that's a given. You've got the compliance email address. But just check if you're not sure, because we're here to help you get through the loan process, not slow the loan process up.
Do you feel like you're like are you okay with living in the gray areas of things, or do you
Yes.
like it black and white? Yeah.
No, it can't be black and white. I mean, if I was black and white, I wouldn't be here, because Eddie would fire the fuck out of me. Excuse my language.
Beep.
He does not like red tape.
No, Eddie does not. How do you think your responsibilities will change as the company grows?
Obviously, as the company grows, it depends on, there's certain things. I know Eddie's talking about looking at buying a bank. There could be some different changes there as far as regulators. I'm looking to get involved in more things than just compliance with the leadership team. So, we're looking at it. There's some things that me and Eddie's been talking about. Hopefully, they'll be enacted very soon.
Awesome. What is the importance of the quality department in a company, especially in the bacon industry, or your department? Sorry.
Restate that.
Sorry. The question is, what is the importance of your department in the company, or a company, like especially in a banking industry?
Oh, as far as compliance?
Yeah.
I mean, if I'll just put it this way, I keep us out of jail. Okay. If we were not in compliance, and they come in and do an exam. Okay, you messed up here. No, you really got a big one here. We could lose our license. And then they put us on a do not approve list. And then now we're screwed. You can't lend in that state. And not just retail, but you've got wholesale. I keep us in good graces with the regulators, with Fannie, Freddie, Jenny. So there's a lot there to make sure that we are all receiving a paycheck.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when I came to you yesterday to ask you the questions that I wanted to ask you, I just was like, I have so many questions about compliance because I don't know. And it seems like a lot of people do too. Thank you for giving us a peel back behind the lens, because we just don't know. All right, here from another question from Hank. Isn't it time to start renewing licensing soon for loan officers?
Yep, we sent out an email. What's today? Thursday?
Yeah.
I think it was Monday or Tuesday. So please make sure you look at Teams and the email announcement. We're open season. You've got two different ways to do it. You got the free one through Allregs, or you can actually pay through the other version. So we're ready to roll on that. Most states require your CE to be completed by October 31st.
Nice plug there, Hank, and you. Thank you. This is from Stephen Lee. Above and beyond the yearly CE requirements, Has any thought ever been given to have monthly compliance newsletters or quarterly compliance training to help LOs keep compliance in the forefront of what they do?
Great question. Something we really haven't, but I will make sure to notate that we can try to maybe implement something like that.
Yeah, Stephen. Yeah, Stephen, email your question. Email that to you to Jim directly.
There you go.
All right. So, and then Logan wants to know, what song do you like to karaoke to?
I don't karaoke. Believe me. That would be, definitely outside my comfort zone. Depending on the number of beers I had, I don't know, a little Metallica, Sandman.
Oh my God. How many? Never mind. That's a question when we're not being recorded.
Can you sing a little bit for us now?
No, sir, I hadn't had a beer in me. Sorry, not happening.
What's been one of the greatest accomplishments in your life so far? Is it Roxy and Ruby?
No.
I'm kidding.
Just starting out, just from work side, starting out with no experience to get into the C-level suite. Yes, it did take time. Yes, it did take perseverance. Yes, I had to go through a lot of different things, especially with the travel all over, US and Canada. Personally, is my wife. We've been married over 16 years now. So that, personal side, that would be that. I have no kids, didn't have desire to have kids, I went career-wise. So there's business, there's personal.
Yeah, that's good. You traveled a lot in your early years before EPM, right?
Yep, I did.
Where was your favorite place to travel? Where was the favorite place that you saw?
San Diego was great. Denver was great. Oregon was great. Arizona was hot as hell. I mean, that's the hottest place I've ever been during the summer. I mean, it'd still be 120 at night. They warned me to make sure you looked under your cars out there to rattlesnakes because they would climb or slither up underneath there. Basically Midwest and then Canada was awesome. Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto. Funny story there is the first time I went was winter. It was like -40. Pulled up to the hotel. They said, make sure you plug your car in. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm from Georgia. You had to plug your car up to make sure your engine block didn't freeze.
Wow. Where would you go? Like if you had all the resources in the world right now, where would you go next on a trip?
As far as personal?
Yeah, just
we're looking at Aruba.
Aruba. Oh, good.
Yeah, we used to go to Jamaica quite a bit. And then kind of had the work stuff going on. So we're looking at Aruba probably next year.
Awesome. Well, this leads me to Suha's question. She said, how do you maintain the balance between work and life, or the harmony between work and life?
One, you just got to know when to cut it off. I mean, and a lot of people know and know this, and some people don't. I get up at 3:30 every morning. Have been, don't need an alarm clock. I'm normally in the office by 5:30, and then I cut work off at 8 o'clock at night. So it's always there, even on the weekends. But you do have to take time to mentally rest. And I do that by cutting grass, working the yard, and then spending time with the wife.
Nicole Jolly is going in with the real questions. I just want you to know she has two questions. One might be a little personal, so if you don't want to answer it, it's good. But she says, she asks, do you ever regret not having kids or choosing career over kids?
No, I don't.
And if you wake up at 3:30 in the morning, what time do you go to sleep?
No problem. I'm in the bed at 8 and the wife says I'm snoring at 8:01.
Oh, wow.
Now, and that's on the weekends as well, with the exception during football season. If Georgia's playing late at, kicking off at 7:30, then I have to stay up. Other than that, I keep the same schedule.
That is crazy. That's crazy for me. I am such a late night owl. I couldn't imagine going to sleep at 8. What advice can you share that you wish someone had told you earlier in your career?
Learn to delegate, learn to trust, allow people to grow in their position, let them go fishing. And I used to be a heavy micromanager, and I learned that doesn't work. So that, it would be, out of all of what I just said, micromanagement.
Yeah. Suha had a follow-up question to her earlier question. What advice would you give someone following in your footsteps?
Keep an open mind. It's not always black and white in compliance. You know, I fell down that trap early in my career when I took it over. Well, it says this and this only. So, but you've got to consider that, you know, other things that factor into that, you know, and learn all that you can. It doesn't have to be from one source. Learn from your colleagues, learn from your teammates, learn from your employees in my position. I'm not scared to learn something from Jamie, Caitlin, Lyons, Miss Jenny, or Karen. They teach me a lot of stuff. I mean, I can't keep up with everything.
That's awesome. Wow. Hank said that we barely finished our evening workouts by the time you are in bed. Okay, so I like to keep it on time. So we got 4 minutes left. Okay, so I'm going to ask fast questions and you got to answer fast. What's your favorite wing sauce from Taco Mac?
Nuclear, not nuclear, 3 Mile, sorry.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Don't like a liar.
Don't lie. All right. And then the last question is how is the compliance department growing right now? Like, are they growing?
Right now we're good. Depending on where the business goes and what may be happening here in the near future, we may be looking to bring on a few new team members. You know, I've got a great crew, very proud of them. They do a great job. So it just depends on where we go. I mean, obviously we get bigger, I'm going to have, you know, more folks.
And you just looked off screen. So are they standing over there? Blink
No.
twice if you're okay.
Nope, they're good. Nobody's messing with me.
Good. All right. Well, any last words that you want to give before we end this thing? And I want to thank everybody for showing up today for Jim.
No,
And thank you, Jim.
enjoyed this. It was fun. It was a little outside of my comfort zone. I enjoyed working with everybody. And please, if you need something, reach out to me. I don't mind helping.
Thank you, Jim. I know this was out of your comfort zone so much. So thank you so much for answering all these questions. But everybody's loving you. Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thanks,
Y'all have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next week with Suha.
Later.